What is going on, everyone? It is Tyler McKinney back here again, and today we're getting into the XFL that just keeps on coming and coming with more and more news. And the rumors might be right. The mouse might be trying to buy the XFL. Hey, if it's your first time here, glad to have you. If you're a return viewer, thanks for coming back and thanks for watching more videos. And if you haven't yet, please consider subscribing. All right, let's start all things off here today with this. We found out as part of that court filings and everything that was going on, and McMahon not wanting to be the villain and the bad guy. Listen, guys, I'm not the bad guy. I want to keep the XFL around. That's why I'm selling it. Well, what came out as part of that, too, is we found out that the dates have kind of shifted on things. So, kind of the whole thing of the notice of assumption and assignment, that date is June 3rd. Now, July 13th is the sale objection deadline, the cure cost and assignment objective deadline, and then July 23rd is this staking horse bid deadline. Then July 30th is the committee sales objection deadline. Now, July 30th is the bid deadline. And this is where things have kind of moved back about a month. If you remember, they were saying, July 6th was kind of the date for, the deadline to get your bid in. Well, now it's July 30th. The auction is going to be August 3rd. And then August 5th is the post-auction objection deadline, meaning if anything happens, they object to anything, they've got till the 5th to file an objection about what happens. And then the sale hearing will be on August 7th. What does that mean? That moves everything back roughly around 4 weeks or about a month. So what we thought was going to happen, listen, guys, just going to have to sit back, just going to have to relax and wait for about another month before we hear exactly what's going on. And all the buzz and all the news going on right now is that the mouse, Disney, is looking to buy the XFL. I mean, why not? They pretty much own everything else. I mean, seriously, they own just about everything else. ESPN, Marvel, Lucasfilm, Star Wars. Oh, that's right. They bought a little company called Fox in all of their movies. The XFL, if they were to go and get bought by Disney, it would probably be a good thing. And the other thing is we know that the XFL probably would stick around. Now, the question is what do I think of the mouse actually owning the XFL? That is the key here. Because what Disney has done with certain properties, they've done fairly well. And, with other properties, not so much. Meaning, they bought Marvel. They've done a fantastic job with Marvel. Now, we'll see how things go for the future. And I feel like this is one of those things for me that is tough. If you paid attention to, as I've gone through and broken down all of what I loved about all the logos and things from the XFL, that I am a guy who I love superhero movies. I love superheroes. I was a huge Star Wars fan, but what Disney's done with Star Wars, and again, I don't want to get in this. I just want to talk sports. It was really nice for me because I love Star Wars, and I was really big into Star Wars, and Disney's just kind of ruined it for me. I don't like the new Star Wars, what's all happened with it. And I mean, from one thing all the way to the next, I don't like it, and I don't really want to go and relive any of that on camera. I don't want to do that. I've already lived it in real life enough, and they ruined that property for me. I think Marvel they've done a fantastic job with Marvel. I think they've done a good job with ESPN to the most part. The thing is I just want my stuff, and I don't want any politics in it. And I feel like with Disney, that they insert from whoever's leading that area, they insert their own politics into it, and it shows. And listen, I'm not going to ESPN for my thoughts on the world or direction of where I want to go. And it doesn't matter what side of the fence that I fall on. But when you start infusing your ideas and your thoughts into things, and that becomes the narrative on things, I don't like that. And it doesn't even matter with that when it comes to, the whole Star Wars things. I just didn't like your stories. The stories weren't good. It is what it is. And, with ESPN, I've seen that. Now, things have changed since they've inserted the new president, and I forget his name, and I apologize, who's kind of taken things over at ESPN, because ESPN was tanking there for a while. And a lot of it had to do with they were infusing politics into things, and people didn't want it, and they started to quit watching. And they've gotten back to that now. Granted, with sports, everything has been down because of what's been going on. So we know that. But ESPN was getting more back to just sticking with sports, and things were getting better for them. So this is kind of tricky for me because, the Mouse is very much they're very much established. This is how things are going to be. This is how things are. This is how we do things. Whereas so they're kind of set in their own little ways like the NFL is. And I don't know, now maybe they might. I don't know if they come in and take over the XFL, if they're going to let the XFL be the XFL. Or are they going to take and transform the XFL into something else, which I hope that they don't. If they buy it, I'm okay with Disney buying it. And I think Disney has done a fantastic job with their properties that they've bought and what they're doing, as long as they keep it on point. Don't go off on your tangents. Don't tell me what your political stuff is. If it's a superhero movie, keep it superhero movie. And give me a good story, put good people in place there. With sports, just give me sports. People who are knowledgeable there, people who know what they're doing, and when they do that and they put talent there, they do a fantastic job, and they do an amazing job. And the thing about it is Disney has the pockets. We know that. So Disney can, they can take their money and they can really infuse it into the XFL and really push the XFL to the next level. The other thing is they've already got built-in networks that they can use for the XFL. I wouldn't put it past the XFL. I mean, good night. I cannot get my properties together today. If Disney buys them, Disney on their own has enough platforms to get the XFL out to the masses. And I can tell you, if they buy the XFL and they put the XFL on Disney Plus, guess who's probably going to be buying a subscription to Disney Plus? Probably this guy. That's just kind of where it's at. And two, they're big enough to where that I would imagine that they would probably still do deals with possibly like Fox or somebody like that. I mean, there'd be those of you out there that would argue with me about that. But, I would imagine that they might even still try to look into that and to make money off of Fox. I don't think that they would do it for free like McMahon kind of did and just kind of, all of, you go ahead and you do it all, and whatever money you make, you get it. They would do a TV deal to where, if it didn't go through, it's because they didn't get a TV deal. I don't see them only exclusively doing it through Disney. However, they could. And I could see Disney doing something like they have in the past with Netflix and some of their other properties with some of the other, bigger names in the TV industry, going through and doing a deal with them to put it on their platforms. I could see that happening. That would be a legitimate thing there. But the XFL is alive and well, and I'm just astonished. They just got done with a fire sale on Dick's Sporting Goods. It was only up for like a few hours, and so like I had a busy, crazy day last night. So I'm getting home. I'm gonna go through. I'm gonna buy some stuff up. Some XFL merch, and like there's hardly anything left to buy. Everything's bought up. I mean, it was nuts. I mean, when you got t-shirts for $4, $5, $7, whatever, I mean, it's going to go fast. And I'm sure a lot of you guys out there were the ones buying it up. So thank you, because that is really where it's at here. It really doesn't matter who buys the XFL. It really matters in the fact that we as a community need to continue to really push the XFL and really push the envelope with the XFL and continue to push it to the forefront, because that's the only way that we're really going to get it, is to show those out there that are investing that, yes, it is a viable product. We will watch it. We want it. We want more football. Give us more football in the spring. And listen, it is one of those things where I'm just sitting here, and how could you not? If you actually sat down and watched the XFL, it's good football. These are world-class athletes. These are guys who are in tip-top shape. These are not your average Joe off of the street. These are guys who legitimately can play ball. I'm telling you that probably, not everybody, but I would say from watching the NFL and watching the XFL, I could say that a legit third of the league could easily go and play in the NFL and have no problem if they're put in the right system, in the right place, because that's really where it's at. And that was one of the things that the XFL's really opened my eyes to, the kind of the other side of the football with it, meaning, are coaches willing to mold to the players that they have? Are the players in the right system? Are the guys getting the opportunities that is available to them, or is there some other circumstance, whether it be they just have too much money in a guy, they have to push a guy because they can't have, a $5 million guy sitting on the bench. This is the coach. This quarterback was his guy, or this was his running back. He drafted him, and so he's going to make him work. He's got to make him work because his job's really tied to that decision that he made because of the money that's there. And so the guy who's the backup never really gets a shot because they have to push this guy. And it really is, they push this guy or this head coach is out of a job. Whatever. There's so many politics and things happening behind the scenes when it comes to the NFL that we need a place like the XFL. And why not? I mean, if you look at the soccer world, there are hundreds of professional soccer teams. Why can't we have more football teams and good football leagues and good football? The XFL is good football. It was fun to watch. It kept your attention, and it was just all around fun. Whereas the NFL has not been that. It's just been the place where the talent goes because that's where the money's at, because you really can't make money elsewhere. And for me, give me more football. I want more football. I want to be able to watch more football. I want to, and be able to enjoy more football. I want more football. And if it's this venue and if it's this way, then let's do it. And hopefully it stays the same product. And again, it goes back to you guys out there continuing to really, push this, to really look at things. And it's not about my channel or somebody else's channel, or just because this was the content you're doing, blah, 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 this or that. It has to do with us as a community wanting more football and getting to where it's not when February hits, we have this drought until, pretty much September of no football. There's no reason for that. There's no reason why we only have to have 32 professional football teams and only 32 teams of guys making money doing football. There are many more talented guys out there who could be using their talents, that we could be paying, and that could be making a living salary and providing us entertainment and some fun where we can go as just fans and root things on, and it isn't all tied up into all this stuff. If and it brings me back to really, the mouse buying it. If Disney goes through and Disney buys this thing, I think that they have the money to back it, to really take it to new heights. And I can see that happening. It worries me on some fronts that they've got, a big agenda behind it, and that they might change the product. They could change the product. I don't know. I don't think they're not in a place where, they would be as staunch as some things to like make this NFL light again and, try to do that thing, try to be the NFL. Listen, you're not the NFL. You're not going to be the NFL. But if you promote yourself like they did, and we're the XFL, we're football. Trust me, we're football. This is football. I don't want some weird knockoff game. I want football. If you give me football, I'll be there. And so as long as they kind of keep it as XFL and do their thing, down the road here, maybe not for these players who will be in the league, for the next 3, 4, 5 years, but the guys that will build off of, this platform, this foundation, this base will, benefit from it. Guys like PJ Walker, Jordan Ta'amu, and other guys like that, and build off of that to where they can actually make money, to where they can actually be playing the game that they love, not just sitting on a bench and just practicing. And that's the only way that they can make money, because they can't get out on the field. And, we'll see what happens with it. This is big news. It's a good thing for the league to see, Disney is in that. It, got some heavy hitters in the game, and we knew that there were going to be heavy hitters out there, and for it to come out, Disney doesn't really shock me. Like I said, on one end, I'm kind of excited, because if Disney picks it up, they can just go off and, run really quickly. The other thing too is it shows that if Disney's interested, other heavy hitters are interested, which is good. But I pumped the brakes, because just in recent history, Disney has burned me, and so I'm very skeptical of them taking this property over, and that's just kind of where I sit and where I stand. The question is, where do you stand? What do you think? What are your thoughts? Let me know down in the comment section. I'd love to have a conversation with you guys, continue the conversation going. Thanks to all you guys out there, Roberto, and all you guys letting me know late last night what was going on. I really do appreciate it. We live in weird, crazy times, and why not? Why not have the mouse buy the XFL? All right, guys. Listen, stay safe out there and keep up the hope. Have a good night. Bye.